Do, 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 do. Did you like that? Here we are. Look at us. I've got a new setup, guys. So everyone in the chat, tell me if my audio's all bad, if something doesn't look right, then just tell me. If Mags isn't loud enough, if I'm not loud enough, if I'm too loud, all of it. Just. I think I've got an echo going on at the moment. So let's fucking
Because
fix that.
Josh has got an issue with StreamYard. That's why. So he had to change.
Listen, Mags, just hold up. Yeah, I fixed my audio, guys. I think I had it. Yes, I know I sounded like a robot. Did I fix it? Did I fix it? Because if I didn't, let me know. Because I can fix it. I think. Trust me, I don't know. Fixed? Okay, we're good. See, I had it doubled. Look, can you hear Mags? Mags, say something. Say hello.
I will not do what you tell me to do, sir.
Whoa, we got a raid. I've been live for like 5 minutes. Mad Dog, thank you for the raid. Hello, everyone.
Oh, thank you very much. Hello.
Welcome on in. We haven't even started the show. We just got off a splash screen, so look at that. Perfect time. Thank you for the raids. We're going to talk about that very much CM Punk in a minute. But yeah, I think my audio's all good now, so I think we're a-okay. Magsy Mags, before we talk about CM Punk, before we talk about SummerSlam, first and foremost, how are you doing? We're in the thick of it. Wrestling feels like it's in a pretty good space at the moment, but how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Busy, always kept busy with the amount of content that I put out. Radio Tech is doing way better than it has any right to be for how young it is. Yeah, I'm just really happy. We've got content for wrestling coming out. UFC's on tonight, so there'll be content for that. Yeah, it's just cool to be so busy and so in demand, especially with it being SummerSlam weekend and coming off the hottest show in the known universe last night with Rampage.
JPQ, thank you for the 45 bits. I got the Iconics GIF on screen, so that's like my favorite thing in the world. So thank you for the bits, JPQ. But yeah, it is. You're doing a lot of good stuff. I'm not going to get too sappy with you yet. We might talk. We might later at the end of the show. So at the end of the show. But yeah, it is a pretty cool time to be a wrestling fan. Before we get to SummerSlam, let's talk about what everybody is probably happening in their brain. If you are at all a wrestling fan, we have to talk about one CM Punk.
CM Punk. Yes.
CM Punk. He 7 years. He has been gone from professional wrestling. You never, ever, ever, ever say never.
He said he's been gone from professional wrestling since 2005.
My bad. Hold up. My bad. So he's been gone from wrestling since 2005. He's been gone from WWE for 7 years. Yeah. We haven't seen him since 2000. The sports entertainment side of things. Since 2014, the very beginning of 2014. And here we are, all these years later, and we heard Cult of Personality again. The place went absolutely insane. CM Punk cut the first 30 minutes of Rampage was CM Punk not complaining. It was his time to shine. It was his time to just have the airtime that he needed or whatever anyone says whether he deserved and whatever, doesn't matter. Punk is there. It was the worst kept secret in the world, but it was almost so much of a non-kept secret that it was a secret because we didn't know whether to believe it. You never ever say never in wrestling because you're just like, anything can really happen. But man, oh man, what an emotional roller coaster of that. Just from his music hitting, to him walking out onto the stage, to him making his way down to the ring and then getting into the ring, crossing his legs, CM Punk style, and the promo he cut and calling out Darby and everything that happened in that. It was just a wave of just emotion. I shed tears. I was happy. I was screaming. It was just everything about it was just so amazing. So we need to just dedicate the first 5 or 10 minutes to CM Punk. Hello, everyone in the chat. We're not ignoring you. Queenie's here. We've got Matt here. We've got Mad Dog here. We've got Steph here. We've got people here to talk about SummerSlam and CM Punk. But Mags, I don't know if you can sum it up any other way than just emotional, but how do you feel about CM Punk finally making his pro wrestling return?
Okay, so as you know, and as quite a few people in the channel know, I was out of wrestling with the whole kind of CM Punk thing was happening in WWE, so I didn't really have that kind of affiliation with him.
Mhm.
And then he also blocked me on Twitter. Um,
Wish I could
and
block you on Twitter. That'd be just what a
I mean,
time that would be.
and I can honestly say I've never spoke about CM Punk knowingly on Twitter, so I have no idea where that block's come from.
Mm,
So with all that being said, I should have every reason to be nonplussed about him. But I am a wrestling fan. I know that the wrestling world has clamoured for this guy since the day he left. He's had the teasers of him. Will he be back? Will he not be back? He did the whole kind of a backstage thing with WWE and Renee. Um, so there was always going to be this kind of massive furore about him coming
mhm.
back. And then when AEW became a thing, it kind of reignited that thing. And I suppose he's been probably in talks with the company since the beginning. I mean, there
Yeah,
was a
probably.
mention of him early days about him signing for AEW, and like you said, this was the worst kept secret in wrestling for a long
Yeah,
time. And for me, I think that was planned because you tease that CM Punk's going to be there. You are going to sell out a show,
yeah,
especially in Chicago. They knew what they were doing, and watching Rampage. I think it was done to perfection. If you would have had him in the old kind of WWE way, coming on last, I think the crowd would have kind of controlled the show with the
mhm,
CM Punk chants.
mhm,
The minute the camera started rolling, the chants, it had to be in first.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, just the way he walked to the ring, the way he interacted with the crowd, hugging random people, diving into the crowd, the tears in his eyes. This meant a lot to him.
yeah,
And like I said, I wasn't on that same Punk bandwagon. I'm on this same Punk bandwagon
mhm,
because this is a CM Punk who is passionate
mm,
about wrestling,
mhm.
and for AEW, for all its faults and for all the great things it's doing, this could be a game changer for that company. Him saying that he wants to work with the younger talent was just something that sung to my kind of wrestling base. I want to see him in matches against Jungle Boy. I want to see him in matches against Darby Allin. I want to see him just enjoying wrestling.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better than a wrestler who is enjoying what they're doing. Yeah, so I watched that live. It was amazing. I think Rampage as a whole kind of a concept is really good. This back it kind of reminds me of back in the olden days of WWF where you got an hour just of condensed wrestling, no kind of like you have to be up for 2 hours. You don't have a 3 hour Raw to sit through. It's all condensed, in and out, entertaining,
Yeah.
just tons of things happening in that hour. I think it's brilliant. And AW knocked it out of the park with this. And then we get announcements that maybe Daniel Bryan's coming. Maybe there's another acquisition on the way. Yeah, it's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. We're kind of entering another golden age of wrestling, I think.
Yeah, it feels cool, doesn't it? It doesn't feel embarrassing. And that's not just shitting on a WWE product. It's just the way that the product has gone in the last 10 years or so. It's just become a little bit
Yeah.
more it's just family
Well,
orientated over there. It's
the
not
truth
bad.
that's it. That's the truth. The WWE is not aimed at me. It's
No,
not really even aimed at your generation.
it's not.
It's aimed at kids and parents. It's
Mhm.
just that we have been long term fans, and that's what we stick around for.
Yep.
If I was a new fan to wrestling now, no way I'd watch WWE. No way on God's green earth
No.
because it's not for me.
WWE is not a wrestling show, and I think people got to stop comparing it like that. Or like WWE can't do this. I was like, well, they're not trying to do this.
Mhm.
They're not here to entertain a pro wrestling fan. They entertain
No.
the masses, and that means more entertainment stuff. And again, it's just apples and oranges. It's two very different things. And I can take what I like out of either of them or any kind of wrestling product, and just being it's still wrestling in the sense of like it's in a professional wrestling ring, but it's
Mhm.
two different atmospheres. And stop comparing them, because if you keep comparing them, you're either going to enjoy one and hate the other. There's no gray area of this. Um so it's two
It,
different
it, it,
things.
it, Yeah, it boils down to what we have drummed away since the time that we first became podcasters. Enjoy what you enjoy.
Mhm.
Don't waste your time bagging off a company that you don't like. Go and enjoy. Go and
Yeah.
watch the wrestling that you love. And right now, there's plenty of wrestling to
Yeah.
love.
There's so much. And this is another thing is that I hate when people are like, I don't know how anyone could sit down and watch Raw for 3 hours. To some people, that
Then
might be the
don't. Yeah.
best. That might be the
Hmm.
best form of wrestling that you get. And whatever. If you want to watch Raw and that's all you want to watch and that's what you like, fuck yeah. Go and
Yeah.
fucking watch it and love it and
Correct.
just
Yeah.
stop telling people what they can and can't watch. It's like the worst thing about Punk coming back or debuting, whatever you want to call it, in AEW is the amount of people that have to go on Twitter and be like, he really wasn't even that good. He's not my cup of tea. Okay, whatever.
Yes.
Just let people enjoy it. Stop shitting on someone. You can have an opinion, sure. If you didn't like
Mhm.
CM Punk, I'm not here to tell you to like CM Punk. However, the masses are enjoying this right now, and just let people enjoy it. And if you don't want to watch
Mhm.
it, no one's literally no company, no person in a company is forcing you to watch their product. Simply turn it off.
Correct.
Stop spending
Yeah.
so much negative energy on something that just is just not for you. And it's okay if it's not for you. You just don't have to shit on everybody else for that. The only other thing I want to say on AEW before we move on to SummerSlam, because we have got a bit to cover here on SummerSlam.
Oh, good
We've
lord.
got a little bit
Good
to
lord,
cover.
we have
The only
10
thing,
matches.
the only thing that I
Whew.
want to say about AEW is that I'm like, we're going to talk about NXT tomorrow, so I'll save what I think for NXT for tomorrow's show. We're going to be
Mhm.
talking Takeover, but what I want to say is that we're in this little bit of a weird time at the moment, and everyone knows if you follow me on Twitter, if you're watching here, you probably follow me on Twitter. You know how much I love NXT. NXT is my go-to. It's what I consistently watch. It's the only wrestling show in a week that I will not miss. I want to watch it, whether it's live or a little bit later. But
Mhm.
we're in this state of flux. There's some rumors of some changes, and I'll keep them for tomorrow's show. But Dynamite and AEW is really gathering my attention. And the only thing that's keeping me from just hooking myself in where I have to watch this is the women. Not because they're not talented, they're very
Oof.
talented women. However, they're not getting equal time, they're not getting equal opportunity.
And
I am watching a 2 hour wrestling show on Dynamite. I watched Dynamite for the first time in like a full show in quite a little while this past week, and I seen one match, and the match wasn't great. No disrespect to Thunder Rosa and Penelope Ford. I think they're very talented individuals. It just didn't work. But if that's the only women that I'm getting presented for the night, what I love in wrestling, shocker, is women. I love the women of wrestling. They're just not presenting them with opportunity to steal the show. They've had moments of greatness, and I think there is a roster full of very hungry, talented women, but they're just not getting. There's a lot happening on Dynamite. There's a lot happening. It's a very fast-paced show, and unfortunately, they're the casualty of so much happening.
mhm.
And there's a lot of great on Dynamite. A lot of great. 9 times out of the 10, there's a great segment or a great match. And unfortunately, for the majority, other than a few times that I've seen where when they've really hyped something, they are not giving opportunities to the women. And when they are given opportunities in their one match on Dynamite, they're not knocking it out of the park. They're just not. And I'm not trying to, this is construct, I'm not trying to be just negative Nelly. I want them to be great because I will sink my teeth into that product faster than you can think about it. But for what I like in wrestling, when I have other alternatives that are presenting a lot more women with a lot more opportunity, you know
The
where I'm going to go.
NWA.
NWA is a great example. What NWA are doing right now. Couldn't be more excited for Empower if I tried. What they're doing is great. I'm not just saying I'm a WWE shill. Everyone thinks I'm just Mr. WWE. That's not the case at all. I'm Mr. Women's Wrestling. And
Mhm.
WWE, for the majority, are presenting better women's wrestling than AEW. No offense to any of the talent. I'm not saying that they're not talented. I'm just saying opportunity, time, add it up. It ain't fucking rocket science. It's just how I feel. So that's the only thing that I'll just mention about that because I want to sink my teeth into it so bad. You don't
And
understand. I want to. It's
and
very
that
good.
yeah, and that for me is the only slight I would have
Hmm.
with last night's Rampage. the eyes of the wrestling world was on that show because we all knew CM Punk was there. That would have been the perfect time to put a women's match in the picture and really kind of highlight what your division is capable of. And the only women's match on the card was a 90-second squash match for Jade Cargill and Kira Hogan, both two really talented wrestlers.
Yes.
I mean, Jade is still incredibly green, and I get that she's this dominant character who really thrives off very quick, kind of almost Goldberg style matches. But if you have got that much focus on your show, it would have been great to say this is what our women can do as well, rather than
Agree.
just have a 90-second squash match. That being said, that was the smallest nitpick on what was a fabulous hour of wrestling to
Yep.
watch.
No, and this again, please don't take this out of context, anybody. I'm not trying to shit on AEW because what they're doing is very good, but just for what
Mhm.
my personal preference is in wrestling, which is women's wrestling. When I've been watching NXT, which again, we'll talk about tomorrow, but they're presenting fantastic women with multiple segments and multiple matches consistently every single week. So why would I'm not watching wrestling as much as I used to because guess what? I have other interests. I want to watch something else. I don't want to have to be like, I have to watch this today. NXT is my product where I have to watch it. I still watch other things. However, I just pick and choose. So yeah, that's all I'll say. But let's move on because we've got a lot to. It's true what Queen said though. It's on the screen as well. Queen and me have had conversations
Mhm.
about the women of AEW, and she knows exactly if anybody knows where my head is, and truly has gone into my brain with how the women are being presented. Queen knows. Ask Queen what I if I can't contradict it well enough on here, if I can't get it out of my mouth enough on here. Queenie and I've had many DMs about this and about how much I want to love what AEW is presenting, and I do for the most part, but oh baby. But moving along, we have 10 matches on SummerSlam. It is quite the show. We're in Viva Las Vegas.
We are, yes.
Everyone
On a
ready?
Saturday.
Yeah,
On a
well, it's
Saturday
Sunday
as
for
well.
me, but that's a good thing
Yeah.
because usually pay-per-views air on a Monday morning. So, I mean, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I think this is the first Saturday pay-per-view that WWE have done since the
Well,
Taboo
Mania.
Tuesday days. Yeah.
Well, Mania this
Well,
year was
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I know, but that's a special thing over 2 nights.
true.
But I mean, this is the first time they've ventured away from a Sunday for a standard pay per view since Taboo Tuesday in the mid 2000s. I think it's the first Saturday pay per view since SummerSlam 1992. I think maybe.
Jesus,
Can't think
that's
of one
before I was
since.
alive, my friend. You were probably 48 at that time, so that's nice.
I watched that. I did watch that show.
Yeah, I wasn't alive. Couldn't watch that one live, bud. Sorry, was a little busy being not born. But anyway, let's talk SummerSlam. And you know what? I'm going to start us off hot. I'm going to start us off real hot. We're going to start with maybe what could be the most technical wrestling match of the night. It is one Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against one Bill Goldberg. Let's start with the WWE title chat. We're talking WWE Championship. I'm sure it will remain civil because everybody loves Bill Goldberg. So, Mags, before we get to predictions, how are we feeling about old mate Bill going into SummerSlam, going for the WWE Championship?
Right, so I want to actually track back a little bit with what I've got to say on Goldberg. Um, if you remember when he first came back and he ended up being the champion,
Yes.
he did an interview where he said he wanted to be champion because he didn't want it. He wanted his son to believe he was a
Yes.
superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Now that to me says maybe his son's a little bit younger, kind of sees his dad as this larger than life character,
Mm-hmm.
and then he revealed his son on Raw, and his son is about 30 fucking years old. Jesus Christ, if your son
Gage.
doesn't realize, yeah, if your son doesn't realize that you're a regular human being, I mean, you've got muscles, that's fine, but he knows you're not a superhero. Stop playing to this audience of one and do something right for the WWE universe. I don't want him in this match. Nobody apart from him and the shareholders and Vince want him in this match. Yeah, it's happening though, which is brilliant.
Okay, this past Monday on Raw, we did see Gageberg, or Sunberg, whatever. Gageberg, should we call him Gageberg? All right, well, we'll call him Gageberg for the sake of this show. But Gageberg was in the ring with his father Goldberg, and for some reason, Gageberg has gone from being a 10-year-old kid to being a very old man, and I don't understand why. I'm like, wait a minute, did this boy like skip some years? Why does he look like this? He's
It-
15, by the way,
yeah.
young age. Obviously he likes his father's workout routine or some bullshit like this. I don't know. I wasn't doing that at 15. That's for freaking certain. But Gage is here. He looks a little bit like Shawn Mendes. All right. I don't know why, but I was like, you got like a Shawn Mendes vibe. One thing that I will say before all joking aside, hey Twitter, stop sexualizing this literal kid because I don't. It's not
What
okay.
has that been
That's been a
happening?
thing. If you type in
Oh,
young Gage on Twitter, people are sexualizing this little boy. He's 15
you
years
are
old.
wrong. You are
Just stop
wrong.
doing that. All right, stop doing
Mhm.
that. But anyway, back to um, um, Goldberg and Bobby. The thing is with this is that we've gone into matches with Goldberg before saying he won't win. There's no way he will win, and then he wins. We said that with
And
the
then he
Fiend.
wins.
Rest in peace, the Fiend. But we said that with the Fiend a couple years back, and oh fuck me, that happened. And then Drew won. Okay, that's one that we got a tick in that column at least. But going into this one, weirdly enough, and I don't want to jinx anything, so don't come for me if Goldberg wins. But I feel a little bit more confident with Lashley. They built Lashley up a lot, and that dominant performance with Kofi Kingston,
Mhm.
I just think we're going to see. I'm not necessarily exactly the same thing, but it would be cool if he just ran through Goldberg. But I think we're getting that with Lashley. This match will not be very long. We can nearly guarantee that one. It's going to be a fairly quick endeavor. But I just want to say that I think it's going to be Lashley that retains. Well, I think I have more hope. So it's making me think, but I do think that he will. Just with the way that everything was set up with Kofi and then going into this.
I mean, and I would love to agree with you,
Oh no, but I don't. Here we go. But ready for the
but I
butt?
don't. But I don't. And there's a couple of reasons. One is he lost to Drew. And do you really think that Goldberg is going to go on a losing streak? This is a guy whose career was built on going on a winning streak. And then two, the rumors have come out of WWE that he's signed for two more matches. And there's also a Saudi Arabia show coming up very, very soon. So I think we see big, bad Billy Goldberg and young, small, non sexualized Gageberg. They're walking out with that title and they're
Fuck
going to
off.
Saudi Arabia as champion. That's happening.
Mags, I've never meant this more than right now. Go fuck yourself.
Back off.
Go absolutely fuck yourself.
I want Bobby Lashley to win. Bobby Lashley has been a brilliant dominant champion, really kind of been a pillar for the black men in wrestling, really kind of like someone who they can really look up to. And they're gonna make him lose to a middle aged, well, an old man, aren't they?
Is he older than you? Jeez.
He's older than me.
Then
That's
he's old.
shocking.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to say something about age right now. Age, I don't necessarily have a problem with in wrestling. It's how they're used and how they're performing.
Mhm.
Couldn't give a fuck if they
Yeah.
were 90 years old. If they can go, who gives a fuck? Um,
I mean, look at Sting in AEW.
yeah,
He's
Sting.
older than Bill Goldberg,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he's I had real trepidations about Sting being back in wrestling because of how he left with the injury. But he's putting wrestlers over. I really dig that. Goldberg, maybe not so much putting people over. No,
Oh,
putting
what are you
himself
talking about?
over.
Goldberg's known for that, isn't he? Yeah, laying down for his old friends.
He's winning the tab,
Yikes.
and
I'll
it's
go
going to be
Lashley.
the worst
We
thing
never
ever.
do this. We never argue on the first one. We always agree. We're breaking tradition,
Well,
everyone. But I'm
that's what you
going
get when
Lash.
you start with the most polarizing match on the card.
That's true. It's true. I'm going Team Lashley for this one. I think Lashley's going to get
I
the.
hope I'm wrong. I
I hope you are
honestly
too.
hope I'm wrong.
Be interesting. Let's move along here. We've got another match that will get a lot of people talking. We've got one Alexa Bliss with Lily taking on Eva Marie with Doudrop. Now, the build for this one has been something interesting. Alexa Bliss and Lily have scared? Doudrop? Scared? Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Deprived Life. Thank you so much. There's been a little kookiness, little ooga boogers going on with old Lily and by the way, everyone, I did do a legacy of. I dropped a surprise one. I did the legacy of Lily, which you can check out on Love Wrestling's YouTube. If you type in ! Love Wrestling in the chat, you can go straight to it. It's quite the hoot. I full on made. I'm not joking. I made a full legacy of on a doll, on a possessed doll.
And you over-egged that pudding. You made her sound way better than she actually is.
Because it's the power of the power of my promo here, mate. I know what I'm doing.
Correct.
It's the power of the legacy of.
I mean, it's not like you had a lot to work with.
Oh, trust me. I was like sitting there. I'm like, how can I make this go for nearly 10 minutes? Because this is very interesting. But anyway, Lily has she's even winked at one Doudrop. That really was ooga booga scared Doudrop. Doudrop was petrified of this possessed doll. I mean, to be fair, she is a scary looking doll. I'm not absolutely getting on anyone that's scared of dolls because, I mean, it's not the most great. It's not the greatest thing to look at. It can be. I can see it. I can see why it's scary, but it does have powers and it scares people. This this match, as a fan of Alexa Bliss and the circumstances that surrounds Alexa Bliss and her character with Bray Wyatt and everything like that happened that we won't get into. And then the fan of Eva Marie that everyone knows I am. I'm very worried that this one is not going to be very well received by the audience. And there's going to be some fucking shit that happens. Something's going to happen with that doll and Doudrop and everything. And oh dear God. Oh dear God. This has potential to be a stinker. And I mean that with all due respect to every single person who's working their butt off in this one. Because I will say, I know people hate Eva Marie. I understand it. But one thing that I think we can objectively look at is how her promo work has gotten better, her backstage stuff, and that's her acting. She has gone away and acted in.
And that's what she was brought in for. She was brought in
Absolutely.
for that social media presence and that promo work. Nobody brings in Eva Marie for a wrestling
Not
chop.
everyone that is a professional wrestler needs to wrestle a 5-star wrestling match on a 5-hour show. It's not
Correct.
necessary. This match is not here for wrestling. This match is here for the ooga boogers, the spookiness, the different variations of what sports entertainment, professional wrestling, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is. That's what this match is for. I am predicting that Eva Marie will win this match via a 6:30 senton corkscrew moonsault, but we might see something else. But I'm going Eva Marie to win this match. Honestly, I do think that Eva will win.
Okay, so I saw a Cultaholic video earlier on today
Ooh.
that said that the Lily dolls will actually be on sale at the arena, and if they sell out, it's very likely that Lily will be a regular thing going on. If the sales, yeah, if the sales tank, then maybe we'll see Lily go away. So if you were going to the show and you buy a Lily doll, you're part of the problem.
Hey,
this is your
some
fault.
people might love Lily. We're not going to attack anyone that loves Lily.
I mean, how do you not love a doll with glued on teeth? How?
It winks. I mean, it fucking
It
winks.
does. It
Okay,
definitely
so
wins. This
I'm just gonna talk in complete honesty here. I don't hate supernatural stuff in wrestling. Quite like it. I'm here
no,
for it.
absolutely
And I
not.
didn't really hate this storyline. Then that wink happened, and I was like, "It's jumped the shark. I'm off the boat now. This one I don't love anymore." As soon as it was zoomed in, I was like, "Oh, this is filmed very weird." And I'm like, "Oh, it fucking winked. The doll fucking winked." I was like, "Yep. I'm riding off into the sunset with this one. Let's burn it
Ah,
with fire now. Let's forget it ever happened because hey, WWE do that a lot. One week it's happening, the next week never fucking happened. This could be
yeah,
one of those
exactly.
times for everyone. As soon as the doll winked, I was
Hopefully,
done. I was done. But I do think that Eva will win here because I don't think we're going to be seeing. I know you said about sales and stuff like that of the doll. I don't know fucking shit from Clay when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't think we'll be seeing too much more of Lily past SummerSlam, and I do think that maybe Eva will kill it. I don't fucking know. Can you kill something on a PG program? I mean, they've done others. It's not
didn't
like they've done it.
didn't Shayna Baszler kill Lily and then Lily came back? Didn't that happen?
Uh, I don't
Didn't
know.
she rip it to pieces?
No, she just stepped on it, didn't she?
Oh yeah, she did. She did just step
She
on,
just stepped on it. So she's
and then
like,
it started
and then it was
haunting
like
her in the
booga
mirror.
booga, and then Shayna was like, oh fuck, and then she
We have
ran off.
spent way more time on this match than it ever has
It's just
any
so
right
thrilling.
to be spent on.
It's so
Eva Marie
thrilling.
will win. Probably
Whoa,
Papa
I agree.
Niven will. Papa Niven will probably actually do the wrestling for Eva
Oh
Marie.
hell yeah,
Uh,
I'm for it.
Papa will pin Lily. Hopefully, that might happen.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, how do you mess up a match between Papa Niven, who is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, period, and Alexa Bliss, who can have a great match with absolutely anybody? How can the focus be about a winking doll? It's just wrong on every conceivable level. But Eva wins, unfortunately.
I could literally spend an hour on this. I'm not even, you know what? I'm not even actually
Well, we are
joking.
not. We
But
are
I'm gonna
definitely
move
not.
on in the interest of the other matches that we gotta give some shine to the other matches. But it'll be very
I
interesting.
hope it's
And
that if that was main event, that would be brilliant. If Winking Lillet was main event,
if Eva Marie does a 6:30 corkscrew moonsault splash, you'll be fucking going in my DMs going, Josh, you're a wrestling
you
god.
called it. Yeah,
You
you called this.
you just got it. And I'll be like, I fucking told you. Eva Marie comes out and just does some fucking 6-star Tokyo Dome wrestling, and we're like, wait a minute, she's gotten good. What the hell? But anyway, I'll give you $1,000 if that happens there, Mags. Okay, let's
Hold you to that.
hold me
I
to it.
hope she doesn't do that now.
Oh, hold me to it. Here, you got a grand in your bank if she does it. All right, let's move on. United States Championship match. We got Sheamus with a broken face taking on Damian Priest, who wrestles the Miz and Morrison every single week on Raw. Um, I don't.
Yeah,
A bit of a. It'll
the
be
build to this
fine.
is
It'll be
yeah.
fine. That's this
The
match
build
for
to
me.
yeah, the build to this has been poor just because of the injury. I think that this match would have probably happened a lot sooner had Sheamus not gotten injured. And they've really had a holding pattern with Damien Priest and the Miz and Morrison and all that since WrestleMania. I mean, Damien was literally on the fast track to being a superstar with the stuff with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. And I think that will eventually carry on. He's one of like the NXT kind of the recent call-ups that seem to like really have ingratiated themselves with the main roster. I think he'll come out of this winning. But yeah, unfortunately, there's not a lot of build-up to talk about because there just hasn't been any because of the injury, unfortunately. But yeah, I think I'll see Damien winning this.
Yep.
Next.
I don't have anything else to add. Yep. I don't. It's not that I don't care. It'll just be that match where I'm like, I'm gonna do something else here, dude, because it's not that there's like 400 matches. There's 10 matches, whatever. But as all these shows go, there's always one that you're just like, all right. And it'll probably be quite physical. It'll probably be quite a good match, to be completely honest. But
I think it'll be a great match. I
yeah,
think both of them have got really good in the ring, but
yeah,
there's just no story there
yeah,
because they haven't had time or they haven't had the talent there to build a story.
yeah. Basically. All right, let's move on. We've got a Raw Tag Team Championship match. We've got Riddle and Randy Orton, RK Bro, of course, taking on AJ
They're
Styles.
back together
Oh,
again.
baby. And AJ Styles and Omos, the current Raw Tag Team Champions. Man, oh man, for let's keep personal feelings of Riddle aside, just for this kind of stuff, whatever. Let's just focus on what's on the screen. Man, oh man, have they done a fantastic job with Randy Orton and Riddle. WWE are very like this at the moment. There's a lot of just meh. There's a lot of ugh. But there's those few shining lights of like, this is fantastic. Like, this is fantastic. Like, this is what we should be getting more of on a consistent basis. And every
Mhm,
show kind of has it. SmackDown and Raw, I'm talking about here. Both shows, I should say. But this is the standout story on Raw of like, this is just really well how you've done this because it's obviously like Riddle just being like the kind of overexcited friend for Randy Orton. And Randy Orton's just Randy Orton, who is an absolute master at wrestling. He just really is one of the all-time greats. And they just play off each other so damn well, and everything just works really well. The way it's kind of just happened and it's just felt very natural. And there's just been
mhm,
something about it. It's like this just works. And then you've got AJ and you know his big old friend. So it all just works. It's all just nicely all going together, and it's just going to be a great moment when they're holding up the Raw Tag Team Championships. It really is.
mhm. I totally agree. I think Randy's done a great job in rescuing Riddle for me. Riddle was, and again, taking out his personal issues. Riddle, I've always liked as an MMA fighter. I really enjoyed his stuff on the Indies, and when he came to NXT, I thought, yep, this guy is primed to be a huge star in WWE. And when he came to main roster, I thought, yep, this he's going to be on that fast track to being world champion. And it kind of faltered a little bit. We got the idiot, the scooter nonsense, the stuff with Asuka where he forgot his lines and then just roared off. And I thought, yeah, this is terrible. They're making him look like a clown. Whether that was giving him that free reign and he naturally is a clown, who knows? But I think Randy Orton has working with Randy Orton has really worked wonders for Riddle. And we always get that tease with Randy Orton partners. When's he going to turn? When's he going to attack? When's he going to kill them? And we got that. And then they're back friends again. So you can tell there's tension there, which is going to build to this kind of like odd couple, disbanding, kind of what we should have got with Nia and Shayna, but
Yeah.
with good wrestlers. Well, with more than one good wrestler in the partnership. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I want them to win. I want Randy Orton and Riddle to be champions. I want RK Bro as champions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think AJ and Omos have been really good as Raw
Yeah.
champions, but there's just not because the tag team division is so threadbare. There's just not really much more that they can do
They've wrestled New
aside
Day.
from
They've worked with the
yeah,
Viking Raiders. Like it's like okay,
exactly. And
whatever.
I think Omos has really kind of picked up his place in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of taken that almost Braun Strowman spot of he doesn't need to do a lot, but what he does is impactful, and he's really kind of learned that well. Teaming with AJ Styles was a great kind of like big man little man partnership. But yeah, I'm ready for some RK Bro as champions, so I'm picking my boys.
Me too. I'm going with RK Bro. Matt said in the chat, maybe until Survivor Series, and then we get kind of a turn eventually. At any point with Randy, it's really easy just to turn him, and it doesn't feel out of place. So you
This
can
is a
ride this out.
WrestleMania match for me, though. I
Yeah,
think
I
ride
could.
this
I
till
think you can run it.
WrestleMania.
You could ride this right out. Could do the turn at like the Rumble, and then set him
Mhm,
up for the WrestleMania. It's not that long when you think about it. It's really not that
mhm.
long until the Rumble, which is fantastic. But it's flying by this year. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But we're both going with RK Bro. Just let it happen and just be a nice moment. There doesn't need to
Mhm,
be any fluff around it. Just let them win and have their nice moment. And that place is going to go pretty apeshit because they were going off on Raw. Good lordy,
mhm.
they were very much in it when they hugged and everything like that. I was like, this is good. This is some good shit right here. This is some good shit, isn't it?
And it's something we've said time and time again on the show. When you give Randy Orton a storyline to get his teeth into,
Ooh,
is the
Untouchable.
very best in the world. He's the
Yeah,
very best.
Randy's so good.
It's only when he's not interested he coasts and he phones it in. But
Well,
he has been a star for the last 18 months, and
mhm,
he's absolutely nailed it time and time again.
mhm.
If he's not in the conversation for being on the Mount Rushmore, this you don't know wrestling because he's absolutely superb.
Yeah, big agree. We'll talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Championships as we're here as well. We got the Mysterios going against the Usos. Great match at Money in the Bank. They had a great match on the kickoff show. If anyone didn't watch the kickoff show of Money in the Bank, this was
Mhm.
obviously the first match with a live crowd at a pay per view back since the comeback to fans. And man, oh man, just a lot of great false finishes and just like a great way to start off a really hot crowd for Money in the
Yeah,
Bank. So I suggest going and watching it because it's honestly, I think we'll look back at it this year as like a bit of an underrated match of the year
mhm.
type of deal. You know what I mean? Like it was like that
Yeah,
one's gonna hide a
and
little bit, but it's very good.
and and after all that, the amazing work that AEW done with promoting tag team wrestling, this was the Usos coming in saying, "Hey, don't forget that we are one of the best tag teams in the world."
Yeah,
With
WWE's
with that
problem is
one
that
performance,
they have a lot of great tag teams, they just don't put a lot of effort into them.
yeah,
Because tag
they're
teams are
an
still putting
afterthought.
on some of the best matches of the year in WWE. Like
Mhm.
literally, they're putting on some of the best matches of the year. They just don't care. But that's a topic for another day. So the Usos are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Of course, Roman will come into play later in this kind of discussing of the Usos and everything like that. But Roman aside, um, there's really not much to discuss here other than this will be a fun match. Um,
Mhm.
but there's no reason that the Usos wouldn't win.
Yeah, it absolutely makes no sense with the whole bloodline and the head of the table storyline for the Usos not to be champion, with the rumors that maybe someone else might be coming into the family very soon. Yeah, there's no reason to not have them going in as champions. And there's the whole kind of like the story between Ray and Dominic with Ray trying to kind of guide Dominic into maybe not being overconfident and not being
Yeah,
distracted.
yeah.
Which teases the son versus dad match that we'll eventually get because WWE got a WWE. But yeah, I predict Usos retain the titles on this one.
Yeah. I I I agree. It'll probably be again another great match that will be on this card.
I mean, and props to Dominic to learn on the job like he has, coming from looking like Walter's son in his first match to actually being one of a really talented young wrestler who has got a bright future in this business. Yeah, I've got to give Dominic props. I've give that poor kid grief
I know you have.
because of how he entered the business. But fair play to him, he has done what Nia Jax should be doing, and that's
Oh,
learning on the job.
you love taking a jab at Nia. All right, we'll move on. We'll move on from the tag team scene of WWE. Um, all right, we'll talk the Raw Women's Championship match. We got a triple threat match. We got Nikki Ash, easy for me to say, the current Raw Women's Champion taking on Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. Again, another match that has potential to be a lot of fun. Triple threats are always fun. I love a triple threat. I really do. You got a kind of good mix of women in this match. So let's rewind a little bit here to Money in the Bank. Let's rewind to our show, Money in the Bank predictions. Man, did I not say that Nikki was a little bit of a dark horse, or did I?
You
I
did.
did say that.
You
I
did
remember
say that.
saying that, and
You did say
you were
that.
like, that's not fucking happening. You were like, nah, bitch, that's not happening. And she
And
literally,
then it did.
boom, pulled down that briefcase and she said, "Goodbye, friends. Fuck Mags." That's what she said when she took that down. I heard her. She said, "Fuck
Yeah.
Mags," and I was like, "Yeah, I agree.
She looked straight in the camera and
Fuck
give me
Mags."
the finger.
And she
Yeah.
said, "You were right, Josh. I was going to win." But she won, then cashed in the next night on Charlotte Flair to become Raw Women's Champion. Great reception, by the way. Just, woo, it was just a nice, like, feel good moment. It's been a little rocky with Nikki. Um, it's not a character for everybody, and that's okay because it is not aimed at us. It is aimed at
Mhm.
especially small girls. That's what this character's aimed at. You can sell a lot of T-shirts now that they finally got them on shop. Um, this is what it's for. She's going to get a mixed reaction regardless, just because dudes will be like, "What the fuck is this?" and kids and stuff like that. Parents will love Nikki, so it's going to be always kind of that mixed reaction for her. I'm not saying she's getting heavily booed because she isn't getting heavily booed, but there's certainly maybe like a 70-30 split at this point. And
Mhm.
her promo work and stuff like that, while it's very good, it's very uplifting and positive, and that ain't cool to a lot of pro wrestling fans. So it's going to be interesting to see her journey. Then we got Charlotte. We've talked about Charlotte a lot. I'm a fan of Charlotte.
Mhm.
I think she's very, very good. And you never count out Charlotte Flair. Ever, 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 ever. You can never say she's never going to win that because you never really know. Then you got Rhea. Uh, hmm. How do I be nice? Um,
She's gone shit since coming onto the main roster.
okay, well, here's a compliment for her. Promo work is getting better, and Charlotte and
Yeah.
Rhea had a fucking phenomenal match at Money in the Bank. Like
I mean,
with
in ring,
all
yeah,
the shit going into that, like where it was like, what the fuck is this story? They had a great damn wrestling match at Money in the Bank. So props to them.
in ring, Rhea is the truth. She's superb. Her stuff
Hmm.
in NXT was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It's just she got so caught up in trying to learn what her character was that it really affected how she was billed as a champion, and that I think that to me was the crux of the problem. She
Hmm.
didn't know who she was,
Hmm.
so how are we meant to get invested when she can't portray what kind of a character she's meant to be? And
Hmm.
that was the issue. If she goes back to basics and becomes focuses on the wrestling, which we know she's good at. And how do you get that wrong in a match with Charlotte Flair involved? You can't. She could literally wrestle a broom and get a great match. So I don't think it's all bad for Rhea. I think she's definitely still got potential, and she's still so bloody young. She's got plenty of time yet. Whilst I've not really enjoyed her on main roster up to press, there's still that positive that she can be a really top talent there.
And she's on the up. She is on the up. I've noticed
Mhm.
in the last, since really losing the championship, it's kind of given her a different layer. And I'm like, okay, I
The
can
albatross
see.
around the neck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally like what she was on the main roster for 2 weeks, then won the championship. That never works out well for anybody. Well, I mean, you're not going to
Mhm.
say no, like don't give me the championship, but also like it's you know the second reign will be better than the first. I think with Rhea, and like you said, she's young. She's younger than I am, so she'll be just fine. But I think Rhea and the Raw Women's Championship is definitely going to be departed post SummerSlam. I think at least with that. I don't know about Charlotte because you never really know with Charlotte. But um, I do think that Nikki will retain. I don't think it's going to be a much longer reign than SummerSlam, but I do think that Nikki, almost a superhero, does walk out still Raw Women's Champion. But I'm a little skeptical of saying that.
Okay, so I just want to backtrack again a little bit
Yeah, go for it.
with Nikki. Um, I feel so bad for Nikki, only because she struggled so much to get over with this character. It's something that she's poured her heart and soul into. She did all the kind of like the prep for this all backstage. This was all her own doing. There was not a lot of input from WWE creative, and she's pitched this to whoever she's pitched it to, and got it off the ground. And it was refreshing. It was something that we hadn't seen since the times of Molly Holly and the Hurricane. Um, and it was cool that she got that kind of feel good moment at Money in the Bank, but it just felt to me like they did what they happened with Otis the year before. They got that feel good moment, and then they had no plans afterwards in place. Well, what are we going to do with her going forward? Like I said, they had no merch for her, which with a character like this, you would think the first thing you do is get that merch line prepared, ready
Yeah,
to start selling. Because this is something that appeals to like I said, the young girls who see her as someone to look up to.
yeah.
And then the the fact that she's losing week on week as the champion, oh yeah, it just doesn't come off as she's someone who you should aspire to be, which is the whole point of being almost a superhero for me. That it's someone you should look up to. Yeah, I want to be that person who's jobbing out week on week on week on week on Raw. Yeah, that's not. There's a kind of like clash of mindsets there. So I would not be surprised to see this get dropped like a hot potato, and Nikki loses the belt and then kind of fades away.
Oh.
But I don't want her to. I want her to retain. Um,
You want to give it at least. I feel like what you're trying to
yeah,
say is you want to at least give it a chance, and then
correct.
let it. If it fails, it fails. But at least give it some legs to run a
Mhm.
little bit before just going. This isn't working. Take it away.
And give it not only just do that though, and give it a push. Put some that WWE hype train behind her, so she can become that role model that links in the younger female demographic. So yeah, I would have her winning this match by hook or by crook. Well, no, obviously with her being a superhero, she's got to do it on the legitimate. So winning it fairly. We know that there's a draft coming up soon, so maybe that can mix up the rosters a little bit. There's a certain little Irish woman maybe coming back soon, so that could be a cool feud to go into. But yeah, I really want to see Nikki Ash retain. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Charlotte win.
All right, I can get behind that. Steph brought up a good point, and I would like to just talk about carrying cross for a minute because I'm sure this will be fine. Um, we'll talk about NXT and tomorrow, but we can talk about carrying cross on the main roster without talking about any of his NXT stuff. We know he's the NXT champion, of course. Um, um, he had a match against Jeff Hardy the night after Money in the Bank. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, here's what I'll say. First and foremost, Jeff Hardy should not be someone's first match on the main roster. Jeff Hardy should be someone's first program. And where this has gone into a program, I don't think that Jeff Hardy and Karrion Kross should have necessarily touched in the first night that Karrion Kross was on. Karrion could have come out and beat up any Juba. You know what I mean? Any Duba,
Mm-hmm.
any Goober, any
Yeah.
Jobber, doesn't matter.
Throw Humberto Carrillo at him.
Doesn't matter. Not Jeff Hardy, a former world champion, former three-time world champion, two-time world champion, two or three-time world champion,
Multiple time world
multiple-time
champion.
world champion. Jeff Hardy. At one stage or another, Jeff Hardy was more over than fucking anyone in
Mhm.
2009. He was untouchable. Jeff Hardy was the man.
Go back and check on Chain Wrestling. We watched Jeff Hardy versus Undertaker in the ladder match, which essentially was the making of Jeff Hardy's career. And whilst it doesn't age well in the annals of matches, it's still a good point to show just how popular Jeff Hardy was becoming.
Untouchable talent. Still is really over, by the way. If you listen to his reactions on Raw,
Oh yeah,
he's still
absolutely.
probably one of the most over talents on the show. But anyway, he ended up defeating Karrion Kross, the undefeatable Karrion Kross, in like a minute 30 with a roll up. He did use the ropes for leverage, but that wasn't the problem I had. It was the minute 30. I'm like, what are you doing here, bud? Then of course Jeff Hardy got COVID, and then he had a few matches against Karrion Kross would have a few matches against Keith Lee, win one, lose one, and then the next couple against Jeff where he won. Um, the point of the matter is that he lost the first one, and the way he lost was like, we just spent 16 months or whatever it was watching him in NXT, and I know we're gonna touch on NXT tomorrow and what we think about all of that, but all it just tells us is that, well, it doesn't matter because Jeff Hardy is here now, and Jeff Hardy just pinned the man of NXT in a minute 30
Mhm.
with a roll up.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. And the rumors that I heard was that that was meant to be a multiple match program, and
Obviously.
Jeff would lose the next match and then kick off a little bit of a storyline, essentially building for Karrion coming to main roster. You would assume. But yeah, it wasn't. It kind of went all the way against what happened at Survivor Series a couple of years ago when NXT ruled the roost,
Mm-hmm.
and then Karrion Cross comes in. nobody's really meant to know who he is because they never kind of really touch on what they've done outside of the main roster. And then as champion, he loses. I mean, when you've seen NXT champions come up to main roster, they've usually done really well. Adam Cole, Kevin Owens against John Cena, that was huge,
Mhm.
absolutely huge.
Very huge.
To see him lose in 90 seconds, it kind of does shit on NXT. Which again, if rumors are to be believed, Vince is out for blood on NXT because of the whole loss of the war to AEW.
Trust me, we have a
But
lot to talk about tomorrow. Not to hype up tomorrow's show about NXT Takeover 36 too much, but we have a lot to discuss, and I'm sure we'll get into Karrion Kross and everything. So consider this a tease of what we think about what. There's a lot. The show is going to be. There's only 6 matches on the card, but we'll be having the same length as this show because we have a lot to discuss. I have a lot of thoughts on my wonderful NXT, but. Let's move along because we'll spend too much time and go too in depth on it. This will be interesting. Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, two former members of one of the
wow,
greatest factions of all time in 3MB. Veer and Shanky are banned from ringside, but Angela is not the precious sword because what I think is going to happen in this match, Mags, I'm just going to throw out my prediction, is that Drew McIntyre is going to win via murder because he's going to stab Jinder Mahal. What the
you were
fuck?
mad on a family-friendly show.
What the
These
fuck? What the
naffs.
fuck? What the fuck? He's not actually gonna stab you, Jinder. He's a performer. What the fuck? What the fuck? But anyway, it is kind of cool in a sense. If you rewind the clock back to 2000 and blah, 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 when 3MB were ruling hard over WWE, you never really think that Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal will be having a match on the second biggest WWE event of the year.
And both former champions,
Correct.
both former champions feuding on SummerSlam. It feels like an alternative reality. How is this happened? How has Jinder Mahal and Drew become former world champion and now feuding on SummerSlam? Yeah, it makes no sense. All we need now is the lost partner of these two to be the special guest referee. Obviously, that we know that's not going to happen. But yeah, I could not give a toss about this match. It's something to keep Drew kind of fresh and in your mind
Relevant.
whilst he's not in the WWE title picture because he's still obviously unable to challenge while Lashley is champion.
Oh
So
yeah.
it
Forgot
it
about that.
keeps him on the show, and the guy carried the company in the worst era of wrestling in terms of fans. So this to me seems like a thank you. Here's your flowers. Here's a feud. We're on the big show still. And who doesn't actually love Jinder? I mean, for all the
I
grief we
like
give
Jinder,
Jinder
yeah.
Mahal,
Don't hinder
I actually
Jinder.
I really like him. I think he totally changed his kind of his outlook. I loved him as a heel champion. I think he's actually really talented in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this match, it's not going to be the best match on the card,
You don't
but
know
it's
that
certainly
though.
not. It's not.
It's not gonna be
It's
the
not going to be Lily versus
hey
Eva
hey
Marie, though, is it?
hey now.
Unless we get a winking Jinder. No
Ooh,
wrong with a winking Jinder.
what's up there, bud? You know, Pluggo, what's going on? It's yeah, Drew will. You know what? Fuck it. Jinder's gonna win because WWE like to do this thing on these big shows where it's one like swervy win where you're just like, oh my god, what the fuck? So I think Jinder's gonna win. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'll go with that because I like Jinder more
Fuck
than I
yeah.
like Drew.
Don't hinder Jinder. All right? Don't hinder Jinder. That'll be like the
Don't bring
CM
that
Punk
back.
chant of the
Don't
night.
bring
It'll be,
that back.
don't hinder Jinder. Don't hinder Jinder. That's my prediction. Okay,
Brilliant.
great. Let's move on to something a little more serious. Edge and Seth Rollins. Great stuff they've been doing, and they've used the whole 7 years ago thing when Shawn Michaels, what the fuck am I talking about? Seth Rollins was going to step on Edge's broken neck and kill him.
Mhm.
It was it's very good. The Brood stuff on SmackDown was, I was like, yes, because of the music and everything, and then the red substance, as they called it. They didn't call it blood because you can't say blood. But the Brood stuff was cool, and Edge's promo, what he first said, the freaks come out or whatever the fuck he said. Just the whole story has been very simple, but very effective, and that works in wrestling. And I mean, it's Edge. Edge is. I mean, if you're
This
not
is
calling
it's a
Edge,
dream match.
it
This
really
is a
is.
this
It
is a
really is.
this is a match where when you were fantasy booking a card of your own, this would be one of the matches. Edge versus Seth Rollins. It didn't need a story. The fact that we've got one and it's got us more invested that's brilliant. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it, and I love this. This drip king Seth Rollins there. That's brilliant. I love the Cyril sneer laugh.
He's great.
And Edge has been kind of like a Marmite to some people since he's come back, but I'm an Edgehead.
I don't
I remember
understand that
watching.
argument. Edge, if you're not calling Edge one of the greatest of all time, fucking get out of here. He's literally one of the greatest of all time.
I've watched his debut live when he damn near broke someone's neck, all the way through his career. So Edge coming back really hit me in the feels, and I've clamoured for this match for the longest time. So
It's gonna
even
be
if
good.
they were arguing over the most banal things, this match is going to slap.
Yeah,
That's
it's
as
gonna be
simple and clear as it.
really good. Seth Rollins is one of the best right now, and again, some people get on Seth, but he's very, very good. Edge has just been hitting it out of the park since he come back, and you can clearly see that the people he's working with is people he wants to work with. He doesn't know
Yes.
how much time he's got left. He's wrestling on borrowed time. He really
Yeah.
is. This is just
Each match is
extra.
his last.
Exactly. So he's going out there and he's just doing his goddamn best, and the crowd will be very much into this one. This will be right in the middle of the card. If it doesn't, it might open. I don't know, but regardless, it's going to be really.
Big pop.
It will be a big pop. Edge is always someone that you can count on that's just over. Seth is great. It just has potential to be. I mean, if you look at this card from top to bottom, that would be the match that I'm most likely to go. It's probably going to steal the show.
Yes. Correct.
So I think I don't know who wins this one because Edge has lost the last couple of matches he's been in on a big stage, but it doesn't really hurt anyone to lose. It wouldn't hurt Seth to lose to Edge. Certainly, something fell. It wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt Edge to lose. Wouldn't hurt Seth to lose. So it's interesting. It's kind of this is the pick'em of the night, isn't it? We always have that pick'em where it's like you could just pick one, and you'll get it right 50-50.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, it makes more sense for Rollins to win just because of where Rollins can go after this match. Because if Edge wins, do we see Edge versus Roman again? But yeah, this is a match where the one winner is the fans. We get to watch an absolutely banging match between two of the best in the ring. Personally, I think Seth probably comes out and gets the victory. But yeah, either way, this is gonna be match of the night, hands down.
I'll go Seth as well. But I'm happy either way. I like both of these dudes, so
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm a happy dude. Speaking of some stuff that really blew out of the water expectations back at WrestleMania was Bianca Belair winning the SmackDown Women's Championship from the boss, Sasha Banks. And they have a rematch coming up at SummerSlam. There has been some speculation that maybe it isn't happening, but they're still advertising this match. I didn't watch all of SmackDown. However, I know that they did advertise the match on SmackDown. I don't believe Banks was on SmackDown. I could be wrong, but I don't believe she was on the show. Belair was on the show. So I guess it is happening. There's been rumor and innuendo of like it's not happening, blah blah blah. But I believe it's happening. This is another match that I'd look at on the card and be like, "Oh, could be a show stealer." We've seen it back at WrestleMania. The problem is that their match at WrestleMania was so historic and so big, and the main event of night one. It's hard to live up to those expectations, even if you're as great as Banks and Belair. But regardless of that, they still have an opportunity to go out and put on a really, really fun match. Certainly out of the three ladies matches on the night, this is the one I'm guaranteed that'll be like, this one's going to be the one that could be a show stealer like Edge and Rollins. So this match will open the night, in my opinion, says Matt. Actually, it's not a bad call at all to have Belair
No.
and Banks open up the show. A great opener, to be completely honest with you. That would be a lot of fun. Um, this is the story that we should have got going into Mania. That just total boss heel that Sasha Banks is. She's just the best at being so bad, and I mean that in a good way. And Belair being the just phenomenal athlete that she is. She's a great babyface. Yes, Belair's a good heel as well, but she's actually a really solid babyface that they don't have a lot of that are just great babyfaces. This is the story that we should have been getting going into Mania. Regardless, we're getting it now. Banks come back, hit the backstabber, and I was like, yes, this is the Banks I fell in love with in 2014 and 2015 in NXT. This is the Banks, and let's be honest, Banks is on a completely another. She really is on another level than a lot of talent in WWE. Gender aside, she is, she is, she's hitting a lot of her prime right now. I think we're seeing, um, but this match will be good. It's hard to pick because a lot of me wants to be like, let's let Belair keep going, but I love Banks and I would not be opposed to seeing Banks. And I love a heel champion. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just an easier story to tell with a babyface chasing. Um, but it's hard to pick. But what do you think about all of this and coming out of WrestleMania as well?
Yeah, you make some really really good points, and I think this match is kind of in the same vein as Sheamus and Damian Priest, where it suffered a little bit because of the build up, because we haven't been able to see these two going at it and really kind of building the storyline. The big difference is this is a match that you could announce on the day, and people are still going to go, "Oh, that's going to be amazing!"
Yeah.
Because of everything that went on at WrestleMania. Both of the girls knocked it out of the park.
Oh,
It was such a great moment from two superbly talented women. This is going to be a bang of a match. I can see it being a Sasha win, just so we get a third match down the line. Kind of nobody wants to go 0-2 and then see a third match. So that kind of makes sense. And Bianca's had a decent run as champion. It's not like she's rested on her laurels and hasn't defended. She's been a fighting champion. But yeah, I really want to see a long running Sasha Banks title reign for me, because I think she's possibly the best pure wrestler out of the four horsewomen.
mm.
But the one thing that for me that has really held her back is hasn't had that long term kind of dominating title run. They've always been kind of
Well,
short
no.
transitional.
Well, the one before she lost to Belair, she had that from October until
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
I suppose,
And she went
but
through
then if you
Mella and she went through Bailey, obviously. They had their few matches, Mella, and then she went on to WrestleMania with Belair. I think that was a pretty good reign.
okay, I mean, I'll concede that, but in general,
Yeah,
she's generally
beforehand, I mean,
known
she
as the
yeah.
transitional champion.
Yeah,
I mean, I know Charlotte's had way shorter feuds, way shorter reigns as champion, but she's had like 5 times the amount of titles
that's true.
that Sasha
You
Banks
aren't wrong.
has had. So I think she needs to cement her legacy with having multiple long-term title reigns rather than being champion for a week
hmm
here, a couple of weeks there, that kind of thing. And her and Bianca are going to slap in this match. If they can live anywhere near what their WrestleMania match did, this is going to be a bop. The problem is you have that to live up to. And if you can't match it, it's going to be a damp squib.
Yep.
I think this will be. I don't think there's any doubt that these two are going to put on a stellar performance.
Yeah.
But I do think Sasha comes out as winner,
Hmm.
leading into a third match further down the line.
Which I'm not opposed to at all. Um, I'll just to be different. I'll go Belair. It is another pick'em though, isn't it? It's really like I can
Hmm.
see there's reasons for both to win. Um,
Yeah.
I think that we're probably going to see Miss Banks maybe move over to the red brand. Um, in the draft. That's the only reason I say Belair. And I think some other people, some other players might be coming over to SmackDown. And I think Raw kind of needs Banks to kind of freshen up the scene on Raw a little bit. And I think she could freshen up the scene more than Belair could if you were to switch the roles. I think Banks is a bigger
Okay.
name to bring over. So that's
Absolutely makes sense.
the only reasoning. But I'll go Belair to retain. But again, they have a lot of pressure and to deliver, but I think they can. If there's any two talent that can obviously have a lot of chemistry, it's those two. So so yeah.
And before we get to the main event,
Mm,
Matt's just put a great comment in the chat. Sad to not see Shinsuke, Zayn, Balor, or Cesaro on the card. I mean, you could even throw Kevin Owens in there, and that
yeah.
I think that
And
just
Baron
goes to show
Corbin
that,
for that matter, because he's
yeah,
doing some
yeah.
fucking great work.
And I think that goes to show, even after all these swathing cuts of talent that WWE have, they still they've still got a blow to Ross. If you can't fit those 5 wrestlers
Yeah.
onto a SummerSlam card with 10 matches, then maybe
There
you've
isn't a
got too
kickoff
many
match
wrestlers.
announced yet, and Shinsuke is also just won the Intercontinental Championship, so we might
Hmm.
get an Apollo Shinsuke rematch of some kind on the kickoff. Usually that happens when I go to sleep tonight. I wake up and then there's a kickoff match announced. Your Big E is also not present, but I mean the
Ah,
beauty with Big E
we
is that
might mention Biggie. He
it's
might get a mention.
but the thing with the thing with Big E is that he has that money in the bank, so it's only he can show up at any fucking time. So but I mean, does Baron Corbin still have the case, or did that something happened on SmackDown with that? I don't know. He stole it, didn't he? He stole the Money in the Bank briefcase. Baron Corbin, by the way, is doing some phenomenal work in this role.
Homeless Corbin is the best.
He is so good at being just like. I love how he's like. When asked who was it, he asked, "Oh, Drew McIntyre." Is like, "Can you give me $100,000?" It's like, bitch, bitch, no. And he like his wife left him. She took the kids. His house has been, like all of his stuff has been repossessed in his house and everything. It's just like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And he's got the
I mean,
stain on his shirt that he obviously is just. It's like it's just wipe it off, mate.
who
Like,
knew? I mean, how long has the RWC been clamoring that they hate Baron
oh,
Corbin? Baron
he
Corbin
shit.
sucks. He did exactly what he needed to do to get your reaction, and now he's flipped it, and he's just proved how good of a talent he actually is because now you all love
Taz,
him.
thank you for the follow. Sorry to interrupt.
It's amazing character work. It's absolutely amazing character work. I really enjoyed Constable Corbin, King Corbin, because he was good at being a douchebag,
Mhm.
and now he's so sympathetic at being a scruff. It's brilliant.
It's great.
It's
There's going to be a
absolutely
moment.
brilliant.
There's going to be a moment when the crowd is just going to flip, and they're going to love Corbin, and that underdog moment when he wins, like poor
Yes.
man wins everything, is going to be. Which is weird to say,
But,
isn't it, when you talk about Baron Corbin? But it is cool. But yeah, there is
yeah.
to go back to the original point. There is a lot of talent missing, but I mean, you never know with WWE to throw in kickoff matches. I mean, you could have literally a fatal five way right there for the with Apollo involved, and you got a fatal five way
Mhm.
for the Intercontinental Championship that would bang.
Yeah.
So, um, hopefully we get something of that. But, um, it's the money match. It's why it's on all the posters. It's on all the ads. It's main eventing SmackDown. Roman Reigns is defending the Universal Championship against John Cena. John Cena made a fantastic return at Money in the Bank. That pop was huge. It was a big old Cena pop at the end of Money in the Bank. Um, man, it's whatever. The build's been whatever. It's been good in the last
Just
couple of weeks.
I mean, you threw back to last month's predictions and how you kind of
We
said
don't need to
that
talk
Nikki.
about this. We don't need to talk
Yeah,
about this.
you said that Nikki was the dark horse. I want to one up what you said.
Listen,
I predicted this to the letter.
shut
I said this is exactly what needed to happen, and
Mags.
it went down
I don't think
word for word
did we
how I
type in
predicted.
twitch.tv/mags or did we
Do,
type in
do, do,
twitch.tv
do.
forward slash Josh Robinson 00? This is my show. You don't need to one up me like that.
Josh, acknowledge that
Oh,
I
oh,
was
oh,
right.
oh. Just threw up in my mouth. What the fuck? Yes, you were right. Congratulations. What do you want? Want this? Congratulations, Mags. You were right. We're 1-1. We're 1-1. All right? We're 1-1. But anyway, big old splendid pop for Mr. Cena. And the last couple of weeks, they've been doing a really good job at building this. We've had Finn Balor involved, which is cool for maybe post Summerslam
Mhm.
shenanigans with what Roman can do. Now, Roman did throw a spanner in the works on SmackDown this week. He said, if you beat me, John, I'm going to leave WWE. So whether he holds up his end on that, if he actually does lose, is another thing. But um, Roman Reigns, we've said this in the last however many shows we've done with Roman Reigns as Universal Champion, just doing fantastic work. Just some of the best kind of stuff. So there's wait, what's going on? Some of the best kind of stuff that we've seen in a long time from a main event
Mhm.
champion in WWE. So Roman is doing really good stuff. Cena is always going to be someone that's just you can pop him in anywhere and it's like it just works, it just fits. He is
Yeah.
still associated with the brand and John Cena is still WWE. When you look at Cena, you're like that's WWE right there. Roman's getting there, but he's not quite there yet, which is kind of I guess the kind of purpose of this match really is like getting Roman to where Cena is or
and
was,
and
whatever you want to
and
say.
and, and just to kind of feed off that, he did an interview recently, which was clearly in character, where he said that if Dean Ambrose wanted to be the man in WWE, he could have, but he wasn't, which I thought was eek. And then he said about Punk doesn't draw money like the likes of Cena and Roman does, and I'm like, oh my god, this Roman is the saltiest bitch, and
And
I am here for it.
everyone was like, "What the fuck, Roman?
Yeah, it's
What the fuck are you
clearly in
saying?
character.
CM Punk
Yeah.
did so much shit." And then everyone, when Punk came back at AEW earlier, everyone was like, "See, Roman, you did this," and it's like. He's this right now. He's a puppet master. He's playing you like a
Correct.
fucking fiddle, and you're all
And
falling
you
into his trap. Like, he's
and
so
it was
good.
brilliant.
It's so good. It's
Mhm.
like, I want more of that in wrestling. With too many people worried about hurting other people's feelings. Just go with it. Just fucking run with it. There's some
Mhm.
unwritten code, I swear, for wrestlers above the seas that we don't see, above the stars. That's like, listen, feelings or whatever, we'll get past it. We know what they're doing. They're working us all. And he was just like, eat out of here, you
Dance.
stupid
Yeah,
bitch.
dance,
Like,
you minions,
yeah, like
dance.
Roman is so good at that. A lot of people, I'm not just saying just Roman is good at that, but people getting so worked up over a fucking comment he was said when he was asked a question in an interview where he's doing it in character. Like, you're an idiot if you're playing into that. But like at the same time, fuck yeah, because even I was just like, oh man, Roman, what are you saying? But also like, you're doing very good at your job. Builds the
Mhm.
suspense for SummerSlam. It just makes you want to see the upstart, the ultimate man, the ultimate Superman, John Cena, take one home. It makes you want to see him hit Roman with that attitude adjustment, lock him in the STF. Do all his 5 moves of doom. I don't give a fuck about the actual match of this, in a sense. He it doesn't matter to me because it's bigger than like a wrestling match. This match is like that attraction. It's like I just want them to stare at each other and the crowd's going like "Wee!" like crazy, and then they just do their little shit and Roman wins. That's how I want it to go. It's
This
probably
could
how it will
easily
go.
be a greatest hits
Yeah.
of Cena's big moves, Roman's big moves. 5-10 minutes, we're out of here. Match done. Everybody wins.
And it's going to be
But
the main event of the show, and it will be fine. And that's not a bad thing. To have a greatest hits is not a bad thing, by the way. People,
mhm,
again, I said this earlier. Not every single wrestling match on a wrestling pay-per-view event is intended to be a 5-star classic. There's some things that just happen for other reasons, and this is the attraction, it's the draw, if you will. I don't have anything else to
So,
add. Am I right?
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, this should be the easiest match to predict on the whole card,
Well, yeah.
but there's
Why?
a couple of
Why do you say "but" now? Because if Roman loses, he's gonna leave WWE, Mags.
I know, but we all know that promises like that are never kept, especially when you're a smarmy heel in the way that Roman is. The issue for me is that one, Cena has got post SummerSlam dates on his calendar apparently, so he's not essentially just a one and done thing. And then there's WWE have been really leaning on that Cena and Ric Flair are level on titles, and if he wins, he's the GOAT, and blah blah blah. Ric Flair eating pie on a train happened.
Oh, that
Then
was
you've got
wasn't that just
it happened, or he said it didn't happen, but something happened. But with Ric Flair turning up in AAA, the massive rumors that he's going to be coming into AEW, it would not surprise me if WWE played the old switcheroo and went, well, do you know what, Rick? Fuck your legacy. Here's the greatest wrestler of all time now, Mr. John Cena. That's something Vince would definitely do. But I have said it since day zero. I want this Roman Reigns to be champion for a long ass time, and we've already been fed kind of inklings of who he can face next. With Balor, there's always Big E with that Money in the Bank, or potentially even Corbin. With depending on what happens with that storyline. So there's still people there that can be fed to Roman. So this championship has definitely still got legs for me. I can still see this going on to Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. So I see a Roman retain. Please don't unacknowledge the champion now. You
acknowledge me.
can't do that. Yeah, I acknowledge him. I acknowledge him,
I like
just
Roman.
like Josh acknowledged that I was absolutely perfectly right with my Money in the Bank
And
prediction.
but you also acknowledged Josh, the host of this on my Twitch channel. Because I don't even think Mags would know how to operate a fucking Twitch channel. So let's just be completely honest there. On my
StreamYards does it for you.
on StreamYards. Hey, if you're listening, kiss my ass. Kiss my ass, StreamYards. You suck. This is why I'm using my fucking own shit. Can't stand it. Anyway, this is mine, and you acknowledged me first when I was right about the current Raw Women's Champion, Nikki,
I mean,
almost a
you
superhero.
got elements right.
Oh,
You didn't say
okay. Now
word
you're
for word.
backtracking. This is
No,
everyone. Me and Mags
you
always
did.
freaking argue.
You put it in the ether. You put that out in the ether that maybe this could happen with Nikki. But I said this will definitely happen with Cena and Roman, and it went down
Mags does a lot of
verbatim.
this. He does a lot of this. Flapping his gums. Nothing
Rude,
important's coming out of there,
rude.
but he's
I mean, that's true. That is very true.
Man, we switch sometimes, and I'm just like, sometimes you really just you know how to do this, and you just go like, it's like, ugh. Anyway, Roman will win. That's what I'll say. We'll both agree on that. Look, see, we come together at the end.
Yeah.
Roman will win.
And there's a comment in the chat from Ed, which we may touch on tomorrow, Ed. I don't really want to talk about it today.
We won't talk about the old famous Bebe just
it
yet.
It might be a tomorrow thing, baby.
We will be back tomorrow, everybody. Same time as right now. We'll be back for some NXT Takeover 36
an hour and a half
the same time as start
from
time.
now. Yeah.
I'll put it on my Twitter. Yeah, everyone knows that. So we're gonna say sayonara. Enjoy SummerSlam and all its festivities, all of that kind of good stuff that happens with SummerSlam. Because listen, regardless of we have a lot of jokes, but the show will be a lot of fun. It honestly will. I can't see this being a bad show at all. And I have nothing but high hopes that it will be a lot of fun because it's
I mean,
SummerSlam.
when does a SummerSlam not entertain you.
Yeah, SummerSlam is
It's
Vegas. We
it's
got a big stadium show. Like it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of it's gonna be a lot of fun in that sense. So enjoy SummerSlam. We'll be back tomorrow for Takeover. We're gonna go and raid Ibiza. He's playing some Grand Theft Auto. You can talk to him about CM Punk, so you can go and berate him about wrestling. He'll love it. So we're gonna go do that. We'll be back tomorrow, like I said. NXT talk. We got a lot to cover with NXT tomorrow. So until next time, everyone. Peace out. Bye.
do, 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 do.